Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Hammered and Homers. I'm your co-host, Jacob Pearl. Alongside me is your mom's favorite little leaguer, the Hunter Malone. Hunter, how are we feeling?
Very interesting on Selection Monday. Usually it's Selection Sunday. However, I was cool with that. I was at the beach, pulled it up on the speaker, and was totally locked in, and was completely shocked. Jacob, how are you feeling today?
Well, my AC works. That was an adventure this weekend, but my AC works. The vibes are up. Memorial Day weekend was great. And as always, Hunter, let's get cracking.
We're fresh out of beer. I drank them all today. We actually went. We had to switch to little buckets for
Dr.
mixed
Pepper,
drinks.
creamy coconut, zero sugar. Fantastic. As always, we are sponsored by Florida Avenue Brewing, home of my boy Blue, right over there near Hunter's, right there on what road is it? Florida Ave's on
54,
54 out there on 54.
56.
Go
No,
get
this
your
is
my
56.
go get your my boy Blue. Great partners with us. They just don't know it yet. So
Yeah,
without
exactly.
without further ado, here the bracket has been released for the college baseball NCAA tournament. Some big surprises. One, North Florida gets bounced in the ASUN. I feel like that's the major thing people are talking about, and that's where we need to. No, North Florida did
I
get bounced after getting dominating the ASUN, which was like so on brand. But we're gonna break each regional down. Hunter and I are gonna break each regional down, and then obviously next week supers, and then from there we'll have our picks to Omaha. But from there, let's go through each regional real quick, and then we'll break them down as quickly as possible. Up top, the number one national seed in the country is UCLA, arguably the best team in college baseball. You got St. Mary's, Virginia Tech, and Cal Poly. Number two overall seed is Georgia Tech, down there in Atlanta with the best bats in all of baseball. You got UIC, Oklahoma, and the Citadel going back dancing for the first time since I believe like 2016. So a long wait for them. Going down to, I got to scroll down here. The number three overall seed, the Georgia Bulldogs. They're going to have Boston College, Liberty, and Long Island in the mix. At number four, you have the Auburn Tigers down there in Auburn, Alabama. You're going to get UCF, NC State makes the cut, and Milwaukee. Going to the five overall seed is the North Carolina Tar Heels. It's going to be a party at Bosch with VCU, Tennessee, and East Carolina. The number three seed in that regional, I believe. Going to the number six overall national seed is the Texas Longhorns. They get UC Santa Barbara, Tarleton State, who did defeat Texas earlier this year, and Holy Cross. Seven national seed is the Alabama Crimson Tide. They get Oklahoma State, Alabama State, and kind of a surprise, Hunter, USC Upstate going to Tuscaloosa. And the last national seed is the Florida Gators. The Florida Gators got on a red-hot path on the back end of March, April, and May. They get Miami, Florida, I should say, Ryder, and Troy. The rest of your seeds round out at number 9 is Southern Miss. They get Virginia, Jack State, and the University of Arkansas Little Rock. Going down to the 8. Nope, I'm at 10 now. Jacob can't count. I lost my 10 seed. The Florida State Seminoles. They get to host Coastal Carolina, Northern Illinois, and St. John's, the winner out of the Big East. Going down to the 11 seed, the Oregon Ducks. The Eugene Regional is a Pac-12 reunion with Oregon State, Washington State, and the Ivy League champs, the Yale Bulldogs. Texas A&M, Texas State reunion. They get Lamar dancing for the first time since, I believe, 2016. Shout out my boy Micah over there in Lamar. He's Lamar's baseball admin. Texas State and USC, Southern California. Number 13, Lincoln, Nebraska. First regional since, I think, 2004. From what I saw earlier on the broadcast, they get maybe arguably the hardest regional with Ole Miss, Arizona State, and South Dakota State in their regional. The Mississippi State Bulldogs get the host Cincinnati, Louisiana, and Lipscomb. Going back all the way up to the top. This is where I think we get into some controversy, is you have two Big 12 teams being the last two regionals. You have Kansas. They get to host Arkansas, Missouri State in Northeastern, and then West Virginia rounds out the final regional with Wake Forest, Kentucky, and Bennington. So, Hunter, let's start up and kind of go left side of the bracket, right side of the bracket. So we'll go UCLA, West Virginia, Southern Miss down that way, and then we'll jump to the other side. Let's start it off. Before we go in any of that, big surprises from you and takeaways from the bracket.
Yeah, two things. It's Miami and Miami of Ohio. You don't have to say Florida. You say Miami. We already know. I forgot what the other slander was that I was going to give you shit for. Maybe it was UNF. I truly care about UNF. My first reaction seeing the full... My first reaction seeing the whole bracket was, where's Mercer? UTSA or Pitt? Where are those three at? My second reaction was, why the fuck is Kentucky and NC State here? When I looked at the brackets, I thought the UNC, Tennessee, ECU, and VCU is just a phenomenal region.
That's great baseball.
ECU was electric. I genuinely, they made that tournament, as long as it was when I went to Clearwater to watch those games. The ECU fan base, and we tweeted this out, electric. One of the smartest baseball fans out there. Honestly, was such a joy to be a part of, that little run that they had, and it felt magical. I think I texted you. I was like, ECU's getting it. They're gonna go on a run here. The USC upstate slander. You said it was a surprise. Wasn't a surprise if you caught our last episode. We put a special eye on them for a reason. We knew they were going to be Big South champions.
It's just a surprise because of the path. They had to play every game in the tournament. That's it, every day. What is it? Yeah. They had to win 4 or 5 straight to go to punch their ticket.
They had to win. Pretty much so does everyone else. They took the winner's bracket, which I was shocked by. I did not think they would win out as much as they did. But who was the 1 seed that just shit the bed? They got smoked by Longwood. Oh,
High Point?
Yes, High Point just fell apart the one day, and they got shut out by Upstate, and then they lost. They had one big inning that brought them back. I think they lost 7-3, but they scored 3 in 1 inning. They had 1 inning of offense in 18 innings. High Point just completely shit the bed, had an awful day, killed their chances. Longwood took game 1 of the championship as it was double elimination, so that was Upstate's first loss. Upstate then gets gifted walk after walk after walk, gifted 6 runs, a couple of timely hits, and they just put them away. Back to the react. My question is, how does Troy get in over UTSA? UTSA was favored to win the American. I thought they would get in. Now Troy is 32-29. My other thought was, did Mercer beat Troy? And Troy has damn near 30 losses. How did they get the spot over Mercer? But the last 4 getting in were Liberty, Kentucky, Kansas State, and Troy. The first 4 out was Mercer, Michigan, Pitt, TCU. I hate that. Mercer should be in. Pitt, TCU, they should be in. Troy, I'm not upset that Troy's in at all. Their metrics look great. I think they're deserving. I do not think they're more deserving than Mercer.
Yeah, I think when you look at it in the RPI sense, the RPI here, here was your bubble. For some reason, I thought NC State was going to be in the bubble. NC State made it in no problem. And they're the weakest RPI team out of the next 4 teams. Next 8 teams I'm going to read you, I think 6 or 7 of them are ahead of NC State in the RPI. So you have Liberty, very deserving. They're up there in the RPI. I think they're 32, right there with Louisiana, Boston College, and Tennessee. You have Kentucky, Texas State, and Troy. And again, I think Texas State has some really big wins. They played really tough non-conference games. Same with Troy. That was the one thing the director of the committee cited, was that Troy went and intentionally scheduled hard games. And then I think you look at Kentucky, and Kentucky's at 37 and just played, in the SEC, which is a really, really hard conference. But Pitt's sitting there at 39. And then you're looking at Tech. So they're in front of Texas State. And NC State is ranked 51 in RPI. So like Michigan's behind them, and I believe that's it. Michigan's the only team behind NC State in RPI. TCU, Mercer, and Pitt are all in front of NC State in the RPI. Now, and we go back to the classic debate that we have. What do you value more? Obviously, football and baseball are incomparable, but like you had the most recent head-to-head between Pitt and NC State, and Pitt won as a much lower seed and like went on a run in the ACC tournament. And they were dead last in the ACC, I think, tournament-wise. They were 16 seed, I think. So I think were they not 16 seed?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I just remember they were low. Like you're looking at like some of these other schools who are like kind of right there on the bubble, like you're talking about. And it makes no sense that NC State is in, given how far back they are of where the bubble looked like it was. And yet NC State was never a question. They ended up becoming, I think they were a 3 seed still either way. Let me double check. Yeah, 3 seed in the. Okay, did I lose them? Where'd you guys go? 3 seed in the Auburn Regional. I just think you need to have I need to know kind of more the logic of why NC State's in versus the other 4. You can make a very clear argument for. But like the fact that 7 out of the 8 bubble teams are in front of NC State in RPI, I think is a telling metric for you.
Yeah, apparently if your team is mediocre and you've been coaching for 30 years, just say you're going to retire and they'll give you a pity at large bid because you're 32 and 22, you're not deserving. You needed a miracle run. That was the thought process with Michigan. Hey, Michigan, Ohio State, y'all need to go on this run in order to prove to us, like, you damn near need to win this shit, not just make it to the ball or the Final Four. Like, you have to win this shit to make it end. That was the same thought process with NC State. I didn't even think they were going to be an at-large.
I think TCU was in the same boat of like, hey, you got to go get an upset here because you're on that bubble. Them and Baylor was like, you guys get Baylor almost did it to Kansas too. They had Kansas on the ropes, but TCU needed to go make a run as well. So overall, pretty happy with where the regionals ultimately ended up coming to. But I do agree with you. The conversation of like you left out a very good Mercer team for Troy, Liberty, and Kentucky. I think you could swap Kentucky and Mercer, and I think everyone's pretty happy. I do think the NC State needs to be a bigger question mark.
Kentucky has no business being in this tournament. Kentucky has 2 series wins all season in the SEC. 2.
But they never got swept, and that's like apparently impressive.
Don't give a fuck.
Like
you did not win.
Like you lost a ton of series. You lost.
What, 12 weekends? How many weekends are there? You didn't win all of 2? Like, what the fuck? You don't deserve to be here.
A side note, too, is I think that Big 12 got hella snubbed, too. Like, the fact that Kansas and West Virginia are the 2 regional hosts, and, like, they're 15 and 16. Like, this Kansas team is better than I think. I think this Kansas team is a top 10 team over, like, they played phenomenal baseball all year, and I think that's the problem with the committee is they see these conferences beat up on each other, and they're like, oh, but the SEC is like the pinnacle, and the Big 12 isn't there. It's like football, it feels like, and that's not a fair assessment of what I think the leagues are at currently.
Even then, like, how does a Nebraska get a 13 seed over Kansas, who's a 15 seed, considering Kansas played Nebraska and swept their ass? Not only that, but Kansas won the regular season title. Can Nebraska say that? Fuck no. And we're not even going to stop there. They also won the damn conference tournament.
Title.
They did everything to say we're better than them, and you just said, fuck, we're going to put... And you left out the Big 12 last year, 0 hosts. So this year you said we'll give them 2, but we'll make them 15 and 16. It just doesn't make any sense. I have a huge issue with how the tournament is seeded like that.
And I think justified their reasoning for not putting in TCU, who's higher than I think most of those bubble teams besides, I think, two of them. So, but without further ado here, we all know the committees they have their biases and they suck, and we never know what happens in that room, but we have a gut understanding of what's going on. So without further ado here, let's dive into each regional as quickly as possible. At the end of breaking out each regional, we'll give our picks and we'll go from there. So starting with the Los Angeles Regional, UCLA, Virginia Tech, Cal Poly, and St. Mary's. You gotta get eliminated twice. You gotta lose twice to be fully eliminated. And UCLA is in the driver's seat, being the host. So, Hunter, we'll alternate starting each regional. So kick us off with UCLA regional.
Yeah, I think UCLA sweeps us. I think they go 3-0. I think is what it is, 4-0. I don't see them losing. I think Virginia Tech will be the one team that they'll see twice, but surely handle them. Cal Poly, St. Mary's, not really a threat to either one of these teams. To be honest, Virginia Tech's not much of a threat to UCLA. They're too big, too strong, too talented. UCLA is without a doubt the best team in the conference or in the country. They haven't lost 10 games all season for a reason. 50 plus wins. I mean, this is pretty cut and dry. They're making it out of this and going on to the Super Regionals.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think they go 3-0 on the day. You're right. It's going to be 3. You need 3 wins to move on, because you got your opener, you got the second round, and then whoever comes out from that loser side plays you again. I think UCLA steams all of them. St. Mary's, thanks for coming. Virginia Tech, Cal Poly, who knows? That's going to be a really fun game to watch, like late at night. But I think UCLA goes through and batters this regional. And that's kind of my thought process with the Georgia Tech regional. You have Georgia Tech, Oklahoma, the Citadel, and Illinois, Chicago. The Citadel, I think, again, is higher because Illinois, Chicago is just like not even like remotely close in like RPI. So Oklahoma can maybe give Georgia Tech like a scare for like an inning or two, but I'm in this same sentiment with Georgia Tech of the UCLA, where these are such echelon. Like the bats are so good, and none of these teams have the pitching to stop the bats of Georgia Tech. So I'm taking Georgia Tech in this regional here.
Yeah, I think the Citadel is strong. I don't think they're going to be disciplined enough to the point where they won't make mistakes. However, Georgia Tech they don't need mistakes to capitalize and win. They are the top offense in the country, averaging 10 points or 10 runs a game for a reason. Them and Georgia both just dominating with the bats. I think they're too talented. UCI, thanks for coming. Enjoy the merch. Enjoy your vacation, dog. You're going to probably go 0-2 because I don't see you beating the Citadel or Oklahoma or Georgia Tech. I think Oklahoma could squeak out maybe. I don't, but you're not beating them twice. Like maybe Oklahoma with their ace and Virginia Tech just getting up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe Oklahoma gets one, maybe. But Georgia Tech is clear cut, not losing twice. They're moving on to the Supers.
Hunter, start the Athens regional.
Yeah, you're jumping off for me.
Oh, my bad. I said we're going to go left to right, and I'm on a different website. I'm a dummy.
Yeah, I was like jumping across, so I was.
No. Weird. You want to stay the 1 through 16 route or do the left side, right side?
Just do the left side, right side. So for me, I have the UCLA, and then it goes to West Virginia.
Yep. Okay. I think I was on D1 baseball, and they had it broken down like 1, 2, so on.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Not like the actual regions and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So we'll jump back to the left, and we'll stay on the left. Unless you want to keep going back and forth, but
no, this is way more easier to stay left and then right. So on this one, we have Virginia Tech, Binghamton.
No, West Virginia.
What did I say?
Virginia Tech.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, West Virginia. Virginia Tech's underneath it. West Virginia, Binghamton. Binghamton, like I said, congrats on the merch. You're not coming for this trip. And what's
put it on the story. Call up the Huzz. Tell them to break out their nice outfit because you're going to be taking photos before game 1's over.
Yeah, like Morgantown's a cool place, but like school's out, so it's less cool. Enjoy the bars. Like that's what you're there for. Kentucky, why are we here? You don't deserve to be here. And Wake Forest, solid. No complaints for me on them. I think it's going to come down to Wake Forest and West Virginia. Honestly, I think either one of them could come out with this. However, I like West Virginia a lot. I like the way they play. I like the coach. I like everything that they do. Wake Forest, I feel like, lost all that talent from last year and just doesn't have enough firepower or star power to make another deep run. For me, I'm going West Virginia.
Yeah, I think this is the one where Wake Forest has a chance. Like, I think this one will probably get pushed to the brink, right? I think we might see a win or go home
Yeah.
final game of the regional between like West Virginia and Wake Forest. It's going to be a heck of a second game between both of them because I assume I'm picking Wake Forest to take down Kentucky in that first game. But I'm with you. I'm kind of in the West Virginia boat. I just think they are getting underrated by the committee, and like Wake Forest doesn't scare me as much as last year's Wake Forest team did, where I was like, this Wake Forest team last year was special, and they just under-delivered, where I don't see this Wake Forest team over-delivering from what they've been all season. And I think West Virginia is better than what the committee is putting them at the 16th spot. So I'm in agreement with you with West Virginia. Their Fun Belt had 5 teams make it to the regional. I think 2 of them are in this, not to the regional, to the NCAA tournament. 2 of them are in this bracket, in this regional. You have Southern Miss, Hattiesburg hosting again, Virginia, Jack State, and University of Arkansas, Little Rock. This is going to be a fun regional. I think Jack State and Southern Miss, I think, are going to surprise a lot of people because, again, they're the Sun Belt. They're kind of slept on, right? Not a lot of people are tuning in for some of these games, but they had an incredible conference tournament. What was it? Southern Miss was down to their final strike and hit a walk-off grand slam, was it not? Or 3-run home run?
I think it was a grand slam.
They keep their bids alive and keep their dreams going. So that was super. That was incredible. So, like I said, Southern Miss got some bats, and Southern Miss never dies either. I've seen countless times this year, how they come back from the end and do all these things here. Like, yeah, and I'm trying to remember. Jack State is not Sun Belt. Interesting. Guess I'm not a ball knower. Jack State is CUSA. Duh. I take that back about the Fun Belt in this regional. But I don't know Virginia ball too well. But again, I'm more like, if I'm Virginia, getting Jack State is not a fun team to get because they're really good. They're a really good coastal team. I think they were ranked at some point this year or near the top 25. University of Arkansas Little Rock could maybe be like slightly frisky, but you're going to need a lot to go your way. But I just think the Golden Eagles, I think they get out of their regional again for the X number of whatever it's been for them or how many times in X amount of years. I just don't see anyone in this regional that scares me enough to not go with Southern Miss here.
Yeah. For the sake of chalk, I'm going to go against you with Virginia. I liked how they played Duke really well. In the tournament, they held their own for a little bit against Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech is just too much firepower. I like the way they play. They make aggressive base running moves. They are very good defensively. It's not that I don't believe in the Sun Belt or Conference USA, but I gotta believe Virginia. They gotta be better than them.
Jack State had 46 wins. Oh no, yeah. Hold on, I lost it. Pulling it back. 46 wins this year. They were 46-13 this season.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna pick Virginia so we don't go chalk. Just for it, like I'm
gonna tell you right now. I think Jack State beats them twice, and like you're gonna see Southern Miss and Jack State in the regional final for them to punch their tickets to the Supers.
You don't think Little Rock is making it? You think?
Listen, I love Euler, but they're not doing all that.
I'm writing UVA right here. I'm rocking with UVA. I'm cool getting 1 or 2 wrong. I don't need a perfect bracket, but I'm gonna rock ACC.
Can you write down my picks so you can send them to me later for graphics' sake?
I can.
So,
You went UCLA, Georgia
you,
Tech, West Virginia.
and Southern Miss. Chalk so far, but I'll get unchalky as we get a little bit further down.
All right.
Next regional, man, it's the battle. It is the battle between Hunter and Evan. Florida, Miami, Ryder, and Troy. That's right, Ryder v. Troy is the matchup everyone's looking forward to between Hunter
I'm
and
gonna
Evan.
ride, I'm gonna ride, I'm gonna live, I'm gonna live, I'm gonna die for my motherfucking dogs.
Florida got on a real hot streak. They did not start SEC play too hot, and they got the bats going the latter part of the year. And and Sullivan's team is starting to come around and get on the right track. But there's something about this Miami team that has just been sneaky good all season. Like I like their pitching. I think their bats when they get hot, man, it's so hard to cool them off and trying to slow them down. But yeah, and I just have this gut feeling here, Hunter, that this Florida team I think is a little overrated in this small sense. And I just see this as like if I was gonna pick, I'm most of the time like I can go chalk, but this is not a team that I'm feeling chalk on. I feel like the way the cookie crumbles has an opportunity for Miami to get out of this regional for me. So I'm taking Miami to come out of this regional in Gainesville.
Yeah. This is really hard to talk with a chin strap on. Hold on. Let me.
Yeah.
For those of you listening on Spotify, I have my Miami Hurricanes helmet on. I had it on. I just took it off. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, dude, you're wearing a Kentucky shirt, this is my girlfriend's team. So she got me the shirt, and we were out in the sun all day, and it's cool and long sleeve. So that's why it's on. I'm with you, man. I don't think Florida is the team of like the Caglione year or the Pete Alonso year. I think they have, was it Liam Patterson?
Mm-hmm. Peterson.
And you save him for Miami, but Miami's got, dude, they've got dogs too. They are equally as talented and not afraid to go into Gainesville. They've already played, I think they did a series already, and I think Florida won 2-1. But I mean, coming right back into your house, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard to beat them twice. But at the same time, Florida has to beat Miami twice. And it's hard to beat a team once. It's really hard to beat them twice. So game 3 will probably be, well, no, it wouldn't be game 3. It would be just a 2-game series. Oh, actually, no, it could be 3, right? No. Yeah, because the winner and then the loser.
The only way they
wins,
play each other 3 times is if the team from the loser bracket defeats them in the first game of the final.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. As I was making sure my math was right. I think they play 3 times.
Yeah.
And I also have Miami coming out of this. I think Bob Evans is going to throw a gem against them, that lefty that they have that just paints the outside black with his fastball. He looked good. I think Miami's just as talented. And I think they've got the bats to keep up with it. Their catcher just hit tanks all day long in Charlotte. And I hope that it continues going to Gainesville. Now, that ballpark just carried. Everything carried. So hopefully they actually have the bats, and I'm not being, sugar pilled into believing their offense is better than they actually are. But I'm rocking Miami.
Jumping down to Chapel Hill. Party at the Bosch continues. You have UNC, Tennessee, East Carolina, and VCU. The first thing that jumps out to me is this going to be a fun regional. ECU is a great mid-major team with the ability to defeat Tennessee and UNC. Like, they are not a team you can take lightly. Tennessee is the same way. They can easily win this regional. VCU went on a crazy run in the A10 tournament after, I think, losing the first game, going down to the losers, and then having to win the rest of the way. But to me, this UNC team hits, for me, I'll talk about it at the end of the show, but they hit all 5 of my metrics. They're top 25 in RPI, top 25 in batting average, top 25 in ERA, and top 25 in OBP with an elite bullpen. I think this UNC team is special. I am also a massive UNC basketball fan, so I try to pull for UNC wherever I can. I'm not going to hide that bias, but I just think this UNC team is so good. This is one of the best UNC teams that I've seen in like the last 5 years. And they've had some really good teams, but his numbers wise, this team is like legit. And again, I said my 5 metrics for what I view as elite contenders. UNC's in that boat. So I'm taking UNC to come out of this Chapel Hill regional.
Yeah, I think UNC. We mentioned earlier, I love this regional. I really like all 4 teams. I don't think Tennessee is the 2 seed that you think they are. They are. I don't think they're as talented as years prior. Obviously, new coach, new system, different guys, similar guys, but I just don't think Tennessee packs the punch like they used to. East Carolina, I think, will take care of Tennessee. I think there's something magical with this East Carolina team. I think North Carolina beats VCU. I want to believe they'll handle East Carolina, but East Carolina's scrappy. I I think North Carolina comes out of this, but East Carolina might take a game from them and at least make them a little nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going UNC there?
Yeah, I'm gonna go UNC there just because I can't see East Carolina beating North Carolina twice, especially with some of the pitching that I saw and just how quickly in game 1 that I saw on Saturday, the UTSA game, they gave UTSA that game. If they do that against North Carolina, they're going to get killed. I mean, too many walks and hit by pitches. Granted, it was, 10 in the morning. There's no excuses when it comes to tournaments, though. Like, you came in
They've
later in
done
the
it
day,
before.
you took care of Wichita State, who was on game, 7 in 5 days? No pitching left. I saw a kid blow his arm out for Wichita State. They had just played 4-hour game in the blazing sun. Like, these boys are from Kansas. They don't know about Florida heat. Like, it was a bad draw for Wichita State. East Carolina came out the next day, handled business against UTSA, and that's why they're here. They've earned it. I think they're scrappy, but North Carolina earned this regional. They earned every bit of it. I think they are a top tier team, and they are a team to be absolutely feared. So North Carolina gets out of this. The next regional is going to be that Texas one that Jacob alluded to earlier, with Texas A&M being the 1 seed, Southern California being the 2 seed, Texas State the 3 seed, and Lamar with the 4. Now, I love a good Lamar team. I love any of those scrappy teams like that. Them, Northeastern, anyone like that that is just, they get in and they give you that little feeling. When you look at it, you're like, they could be scrappy. They could end somebody off. And I'm not I'm not the biggest Texas A&M believer, and I don't know if that's coming from the football bias or like that Texas A&M is just kind of goofy.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I've not been like this bought in on the A&M team this year.
Yeah, like I think Southern Cal is more talented than I think we give them. I would not be surprised to see USC come out of this regional, and I think I'm gonna go with USC.
I'm in the exact same mindset of going USC. They have one of the best pitchers in college baseball right now. You're probably going to save them for when you go up against A&M the first time. Throw out your day 2 guy on Texas State. Texas State is a team that you can't scoff at, though.
No.
They have big wins over, I think, Texas and some other Texas teams. I mean, they beaten Baylor. They pushed Texas Tech to the brink. UTSA and Texas State was a cinema of a game because they were just so rowdy of a fan base. So I think if anything, I think this is a regional. If you're an A&M fan, you're like, man, I don't feel comfortable at all in this regional. Excuse me. Nor should you. Lamar, shout out my boy Micah, Lamar baseball admin for social. Their coach is going to a big school soon. He's going to get poached by somebody, and that program's going to turn around forever gets him from Lamar. But I'm going USC, best arm in one of the best arms in college baseball, and you put UCLA on the brink and back in the conference tournament. I think this USC team gets it done and punches their ticket out.
Could you imagine if Lamar knocked Texas A&M out?
That'd be great.
They get
That'd
their one loss, and then Southern Cal just throws their ace and just kicks them.
So that would just mean both the 2 top seeds lose to knock each other out in the losers bracket.
Like that would be
That'd be
That would
crazy.
be
That'd be
wild.
nuts. You're right. That'd be nuts.
And perfect for college baseball. Like it just makes sense.
Yes.
Like there's people that are like, that's dumb. Like a 1 and 2 seed would never lose to a 3 and a 4. No, this is college baseball. Like strap up, shit happens. In case you haven't noticed, shit happens.
Speaking of shit happens, this is probably what this regional also is. The Lincoln Regional. Nebraska, Ole Miss, Arizona State, South Dakota State. Brutal draw if you're a Cornhuskers baseball fan because you get Ole Miss and you get Arizona State, two perennial top baseball programs in the country. Obviously, we know Ole Miss had that massive slip up against Mizzou in the first round of SEC conference tournament. Arizona State took West Virginia to the brink. In Nebraska, they got, I think they got shuttied against Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, in the Big Ten title, in the Big Ten conference. South Dakota State, thanks for coming. I'm leaning Arizona State here. I just think, again, they're devaluing the Big 12. I think Ole Miss, maybe the Mizzou game was a wake up and they win this regional. But the things that I saw, like, Arizona State can punish them with the bats. And Arizona has, like, some really good bullpen to shut them down in the middle part of the game if they need to get the starter out in a pinch. I think Nebraska in this regional, I think they're gonna use up all the games in the regional. I think whoever's in the winners bracket is gonna lose, and then they have to play a do or die game at the end. But I'm taking Arizona State. I'm taking the Sun Devils fork up to come out of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm with you in the fact that I don't think Nebraska makes it out of this. Like I watched them struggle against teams like Iowa, and obviously we just watched them struggle against Oregon, and I don't love this Nebraska team. Like they've always been ranked pretty high, but I don't see how. I feel like they're a team that's been overrated. And I think Ole Miss just got the kick in the ass that it needed going into this. You clearly had a long break for coach to whoop your ass into shape and just put everything together. Here's where we messed up. Here's what will come correct. And now it's scouting time and ready to go. I think Ole Miss comes in ready to roll with a new kind of perception, a new attitude. I mean, granted, they probably rolled into that tournament like, we don't really need to win any of these games. Accidentally lost, and they said, oh, you can't do that here. I think I'm going to go Ole Miss. I think the talent is there. I think Arizona State probably gives them a game. I'm going to go with Ole Miss beats Nebraska, and then Nebraska, Arizona State. I mean, regardless, Ole Miss has got to beat one of those two teams twice. So I think I'd rather see Nebraska a second time than Arizona State. So I think you're right. Arizona State's got good bats. They're scrappy. They play very well. Very good brand of baseball over there. Not saying that Nebraska doesn't, but I think Arizona State's a little more scarier for me to face a second time than a Nebraska Cornhuskers team. I have Ole Miss. You said you have Nebraska. All right, and then the next one.
Oh no, I got Arizona State.
You have Arizona State. I'm just playing. Ole Miss, Arizona State. The last regional on the left side is Auburn, UCF.
Sorry. One last thing, a guy to keep an eye on in this regional. His name's Landon Harrison. He's batting .413 and he has 28 home runs for Arizona State. Keep an eye on this guy to make some serious noise in that regional. Go ahead, you were saying Auburn?
So, in the last regional on the left side is Auburn, UCF, NC State, Milwaukee. That is 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the seeds. Milwaukee, congrats on your merch. Like, enjoy the free trip. Auburn's a pretty cool town. Enjoy, like I said, the bar, the food. Milwaukee's going to go 0-2. I think NC State's here for a pity. It's a pity party, and UCF is just they're not that good. I think this is one of the easiest regionals to walk out of. I think Auburn comes out of here 3-0. I don't see anyone beating them at all. I don't believe in UCF's pitching. I don't believe in NC State at all, and Milwaukee's here for the merch.
Yeah, I think Auburn gets the job done. NC State, we talked about, doesn't deserve to be there. Milwaukee, great story. UCF could maybe get a little frisky, could push Auburn, but I think Auburn's just too strong, too powerful. It's just going to overwhelm this regional. So Auburn is moving on for me. We talked about at the top Georgia Tech for both of us. Let's go to Lawrence, Kansas, and we have Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri State, and Northeastern. If you're a Kansas fan, this is a bad draw because
I'm pissed.
not only do you get Arkansas and Dave Van Horn, but you also
Again.
get Missouri, and then you get Missouri State, one of the best mid-major programs in the country right now.
Well, you also get
So
Northeastern, one of the most aggressive programs out there, who steals more bases than anyone out there. They are
Mhm.
no stranger to dropping a bunt down and making you work. I mean, this region sucks.
if you're a Kansas fan, you're pissed. This
Yeah,
regional is brutal,
absolutely. And
brutal.
you shouldn't be in this spot because you should be above Nebraska already and above Oregon. You should not be in this regional. This should be somebody else's problem. Unfortunately, you don't get to pick it. Kansas, Northeastern, Missouri State, Arkansas. I think Kansas finds a way to shut down Northeastern. If you can't keep them on the bases, or if you don't put them on bases, they can't go to where their strength is. I think Kansas can out hit Northeastern, whereas Northeastern has to find runs pretty scrappy. I think I'm tired of seeing Arkansas versus Kansas. If I'm being honest, I feel like I see them every year, and it's just not a bad. It's a bad matchup for Kansas every year. Like I feel like I've seen this played out to where I can't be like, let's think Kansas. Like it's Arkansas. Like every year it's Arkansas. So why am I going to change? I'm not. I think Arkansas makes this because I've seen this before.
I feel like the winner of Arkansas Kansas should like put naming rights on the line or something. Like losers got to rename their state. Um, I think I'm taking Arkansas. I just think the history of Dave Van Horn and company, like they just like this is a unusual spot for Arkansas to not be a regional host. Like it's weird not seeing a Fayetteville regional.
They should
Uh,
be a
they
regional
should be.
host.
They should be, and they just played in the SEC title game. Like that's
Like
what I think was like very surprised was like A&M was a host, and I'm like Arkansas beat A&M. Like what are we doing here? I'm taking Arkansas. I think again, I think they got undervalued. It's just a brutal regional because Missouri State's gonna like Missouri State has beaten Arkansas. So like they played earlier this year and they beat Arkansas at Arkansas. So like Missouri State has like they have the ability to win this regional, legitimate. And Kansas has a chance to shut us all up and show why they're a regional host. But I'm taking Arkansas to divide those. I think they got to go to the final game of the regional. But I'm taking the Razorbacks to come out of Lawrence there. But it's gonna be a great regional to watch because if you love baseball, all different types of baseball, it's gonna be great. Small ball, bullpen dominant, big hitters, and just good all around athleticism with smart strategy. You have those. You have that in each of these four teams here.
yeah, the next wave is going to be Florida State, St. John's, NIU, Coastal Carolina. Now, this isn't the Coastal Carolina like with Caden Bonide. Like the team that you're seeing, they are not as talented. However, they did make the regional as a 2 seed. NIU is here as a 3 seed. St. John's is here as a 4 seed. I honestly think this is one of the more easier regional. This is going to be in Tallahassee. I do not see any path for anyone other than Florida State to come out of this.
I want to pick Coastal because they're fun and scrappy, and it just obviously also isn't chalk. But this Florida State team is pretty legit, man. They got the pitching, and Coastal has a guy, but the thing is they don't have enough. It's too big of a gap between who your guy is and the guy below him. You know what I'm saying? Like your number two should be, close to your number one, or like like you can tell, but like their number two is not as good as I think their number one is. So with that, I'm taking Florida State. I do think it'll be Florida State Coastal on the final day of their regional. Thanks for coming, NIU and St. John, but yeah, Florida State coming out of Tallahassee. Alabama, the Tuscaloosa Regional. You get Oklahoma State, one of the hottest teams in baseball. You get Alabama State, and of course, the scrappy USC upstate Spartans. They're Spartans, right?
Yeah, Spartans
Yep.
out of Spartanburg.
Yeah, ball knowledge. Do we just have to pick USC upstate just for our guy? Good. So,
Absolutely not.
I think
They'll go 1-2. they'll
I think Oklahoma State takes this regional.
Ooh.
I liked the way they were playing. They were hot. They had the bats going. Alabama didn't have a great showing in the SEC tournament. They were one of the better teams all year, but there's just something that screams Oklahoma State's going to come out of this regional. So, and I have no other like logic other than gut. So, thanks for listening to this podcast for in-depth analysis from me.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think Alabama beats Alabama State. Oklahoma State beats USC Upstate. USC Upstate beats Alabama State. Smell you later, Alabama State. Alabama, Oklahoma State. Now with that, I don't know, man. Justin LeBron is so fun to watch. I think they beat Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State will then beat USC Upstate. And I think you're right. The bats are just too much. USC Upstate's, I mean, if Sweeney and Waters does not produce, this team does not score. I mean, we watched them struggle game 1 of the championship series against Longwood. And their pitching, honestly, isn't the best. They have pretty much 3 starters and the same 2 relievers. They roll 5 guys. It's not the greatest pitching performance. I don't see any real upsets. I'm gonna go with Alabama. I think Alabama beats Oklahoma State twice, just so I don't have to be the same as you. And also, a Boomer Sooner. I don't want to pick Oklahoma State. That's my reasoning. So Bama, OK State, because they're just an OK State. Now moving on to Texas. Oh my God. Is this not a fucking cupcake regional? Again, Texas is here with not a single Power 4 team in their regional at all. Again, I mean, this is college baseball's golden boys right here. Texas is here against UC Santa Barbara, Tarleton State, and Holy Cross, and holy crap, do you have an easy path. Texas is going to dog walk all of these teams, even though Texas is probably playing the worst brand of baseball they have played all season. I think they're going to get these cupcakes to get them back on track, and then they go in and face whoever comes out of the Eugene side. But I don't see any way Holy Cross or Tarleton or UC Santa Barbara beats Texas twice.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know if it's as cupcake as I think you think it is. I think this is a uneasy regional because Tarleton State is great. And UC Santa Barbara has one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball, especially with the one guy who has the sub-1 ERA, who I'm blanking on his name.
Flora.
Yeah, Flora. The question I have is, do they, like Tarleton I know has the bats. I don't know if they have the pitching enough to survive potentially 3 games with Texas. And I don't know if UC Santa Barbara has the bats to survive 3 games of Texas. So, and that's my problem. If it was a 1-game thing, I'm probably going to ride UC Santa Barbara because I love their pitching staff. But you got to survive 3 games. And I just don't see that happening in this regional with Texas. And I think Tarleton State, is going to surprise some people, but I don't think either of them in a 3-game series is how I view it. I don't see anyone having enough of anything to overpower Texas. We're down to the Eugene Regional. It is a Pac-12 reunion between Oregon, Oregon State, and Washington State with the Yale Bulldogs. Now, I have vested interest in Yale, but I will not be picking them to win this regional. I think it's cool that they're in. That's it.
Enjoy the merch.
They have internships that they'd rather be at than be in Eugene. So,
quite literally.
I think it's a great regional. Honestly, I think Oregon State, Washington State, and Oregon is going to be a fun Pac-12 reunion. But really, I want to see Oregon State and Oregon in a game, do or die game, to move to supers. Oregon State's got a nasty, nasty pitcher. He gave Baylor fits earlier this year, but this Oregon team took UCLA to the brink in that championship game, and I think they're playing some of their best baseball right now. But I like the Beavers. I like the Beavers to find a way to get out of this regional. So I'm taking Oregon State to come out of this regional.
Hey, I did not see that. I'm boring. I'm going chalk, and here's why. I think, although I do think Oregon is an overseeded one, I do believe their path is easier than most. Yale, thanks for coming. Enjoy this, the hikes, the trails, the scenery. The pizza is not as good. But Washington State, Oregon State, it's cool. Oregon State isn't the same like as they used to be. It's not that same feeling where it's like, ooh, Travis Bazzana was there and Adley Rutschman was there. Like, it just doesn't have the same juice. I think Oregon is playing their best brand of baseball, and they are talented. They play highly intelligent baseball, a good brand. They make good moves, smart, intelligent, strategic plays. I enjoyed every bit of that Oregon UCLA game. I think iron sharpens iron. Oregon is going to come out of this regional. I think it's going to be a little bit easier than you think.
Jumping down, Starkville, Mississippi State, Cincinnati, Louisiana, Raging Cajuns, and Lipscomb. Where to go from here?
Ooh! Should be UNF.
Yeah, well, they lost twice, so.
Yeah, immediately. Should be them.
Nothing about these, like, Cincinnati and Louisiana scream that you're going to go take down Mississippi State. Like, you don't scream that to me, It's not like in the other regionals where I'm like, yeah, this one seed, like, I think, again, you're looking at an overseeded Mississippi State team. Honestly, probably shouldn't be hosting. It should be Arkansas. But
yeah,
I don't. Cincinnati doesn't scare me enough to pick against Mississippi State. Louisiana could be interesting. Given they're one of the Fun Belt teams, and they're actually ranked, I think, decently high in RPI. They're 33rd, and they have 39 wins on the year. But Mississippi State, in Starkville, I just think it's too much. I just like Mississippi State to come out of this regional.
Yeah, no, I like Louisiana a lot. I like them to beat Cincinnati, and I could see them beating Mississippi State once. Not twice. Mississippi State is going to come out of this. They should be playing who is UNF, but it's not. It's some other team. That other team was going to go 0-2. And I think Mississippi State just comes out of it. They're too talented, too powerful. I like Jacob Parker a lot. Big bat. I think he was a second-round pick, and he decided he wanted to go to school at Mississippi State. Mississippi boy through and through. I like to see him come through. That is going to be a regional that I'm going to listen to on mute because I hate the sound of cowbells. So, but Mississippi State goes through. And the last one that we have, one of the more intriguing ones, Georgia, Boston College, Liberty, and Long Island. Tough draw if you're a Boston College, man, because you're a fun team to watch. Like, I really enjoy the way that Boston College plays. Liberty, Long Island, thanks for coming. Georgia is just... they destroyed everyone. I watched that Arkansas game, the championship one. They just put belt to ass. Like, it was, they just put up 10 runs a game, every game. Like, Boston College maybe could do that once, but not against a pitching staff like Georgia's. Like, they don't put up 10 runs on elite pitching staffs or good pitching staffs. They put up 10 runs on shitty pitching staffs mixed in with shitty defense. Like, they need help to get to 10. Georgia does that on a regular. Georgia's just too big, too strong, too powerful. I think they take it. Wow.
That's what I think about this regional. See how I play that off. I think if Boston College was in a different regional, I think we'd be having a different conversation about them.
Yeah.
I just don't. This Georgia team is. We talked about UNC being a special team. This Georgia team is a special team. Very special. Taking the dogs to come out of Athens here.
I tell you what, if Boston College was in there with Texas and Texas regional, I'd take Boston College.
Yeah, I think if Boston College was in maybe any other regional besides a top 6 one, you might be looking at a different story with this BC team. So with that, I think we're just going to leave it there, right? We're just going to leave it there. Are we doing our official 8 to Omaha, or you want to just leave it?
So we picked our
regional winners.
The 8? Yeah, we picked the regionals. We'll make a graphic.
All right.
We'll just drop the graphic. We'll drop the graphic. We did those. The last thing that I have on my notes is, and we didn't touch upon it, Oregon being an 11 seed really bothers me. And it's because it screams zero punishment for canceling those games against GCU earlier in the year. You didn't get punished at all.
A lot of teams didn't get punished, and because Miami canceled games too. So did Florida State.
We're not
And
talking about those. I'm talking about Oregon. I don't
oh
have Miami on my
no,
sheet.
I have
No,
receipts.
that must be Miami of Ohio, is what
No.
you're referring to.
I don't think so.
Tallahassee would do some shit like that. Miami, on the other hand, would not duck. We don't duck nobody.
Florida State ducked, I think, Florida A&M.
That's embarrassing because they're next door.
Yeah, they
You're
didn't want. I
literally
don't think.
walking distance. There's no bus needed.
Yeah, I don't think Florida State even wanted like risk losing. Again, their RPI tanked.
Let's see. I hate that UNC is below Auburn seeding wise.
Mhm.
That's bad. And Virginia as a 2 seed with a record of 30 and 24, 15 and 15 in the ACC. Your resume sucks. So it bothers me that you are also where you're at. And that's all that I have on my notes. Oh, UCF is an overrated 2 seed. We kind of touched upon that as we both agree they're not. Enjoy your vacation, bro.
Yep.
Any final thoughts on your notes?
I have some metrics here. I typed into Claude AI to help me with some notes here and how accurate this may be. Take it with a grain of salt. I hope it's pretty accurate. It's been this time. So with this, I typed in, for me, I said it earlier. They got to be top 25 in RPI, top 25 in ERA, top 25 in OBP, top 25 in batting average, and an elite bullpen. With that, it came out with 3 big contenders. This is when I also am kind of like, ooh, maybe not completely accurate because they put Mississippi State as a number 6 seed, and they're not. They're 14. But UCLA they gave me 3 different tiers. 3 teams checked all 5 boxes. UCLA, North Carolina, and Mississippi State. And then the next set of teams checked 4 out of 5 boxes, which was Georgia Tech, Georgia, Auburn, West Virginia. And then obviously it gave me some dark horses of Arizona State, Ole Miss, Kansas, Arkansas, Coastal, and Southern Miss, as well as Oregon State, Oklahoma, and Virginia Tech. But I think the top 2, UCLA and North Carolina, Georgia Tech, Auburn, Georgia, I think those teams, those 6 or 5 teams I just mentioned, are legit national championship level contenders. I think you look at some of the other teams, the SEC, they just don't have the same level of depth. And Auburn's probably the weakest out of that bunch. But the Auburn has all the pieces. It's just a matter of, do they put all the pieces together all the time? And will they put it together enough to continue the momentum? That's half the battle with this tournament is momentum. You get one hot pitcher, it's over. Doesn't like you get one hot middle relief guy who has a 20 ERA but somehow turns into Mariano Rivera for middle relief, or Andrew Miller. Like, you're gonna get some innings out of them. So, and shut people down, and that's the name of the game. So those are some of my metrics that I use to kind of help gauge the larger scope of college baseball. And
Yeah.
with that, are we in the
I
hammered?
think we are on the hammered questions. You know what it is? 9 questions. I'm gonna ask you if you stutter, if you take too long, if you answer incorrectly, you got a drink. I don't care what you got over there. First question: biggest College World Series snub?
Oh, like for the tournament,
Yeah, for the
NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
Mercer. I think
yeah.
Mercer.
We kind of touched upon it. That one was pretty easy. Now of your teams, we just went over all the teams in the bracket. So if you want to pull it up, most of these are about it. Who is your biggest dark horse?
My biggest dark horse, I would probably say, is Arkansas, given their level of seeding. They have a very, it's going to be a tough path because they're going to have to face probably Georgia Tech and Supers, but Dave Horn finds ways to win. So that's a team that I think can go a long way. I also think Arizona State, could also make noise if Auburn somehow doesn't get out of their regional.
Yeah. You a beach guy or a pool guy?
Pool. I don't like either, actually, but I'd rather be at a pool. I don't like being out in the sun. I like being in the sun, but I'm not a big Jacob, let's go sit and tan. Nah, if we're gonna be in the sun, I want to be in the sun golfing or doing something. I don't want to sit there and just have the sun in my eye for 3 hours for no reason.
What's a team you're secretly rooting for?
Team I'm UC Santa Barbara, the Gauchos. That would just be fun. That'd just be a fun story. That's a team I'm secretly rooting for.
And who would you say is your favorite player in this tournament?
Probably. I don't know. I watched McDuffie pitch the other day for UNC, and that guy was nails. So probably McDuffie.
Yeah, I think UNC is going to be the answer for your the next one. Who's got the best uniforms in all of college baseball?
I think I texted it to you. I was like, the sleeveless UNC unis are tough. It is the best college baseball uniform. We need to do that in the offseason, rank some of these college baseball uniforms.
Yeah. Who do you think is the most overrated player in college baseball?
Oof. Overrated? Not a big, I don't know anyone who's, super overrated. A lot of guys have lived up to what they've been. So, I also can't think of a guy off the top of my head, so.
Damn, let's drink. Now, we just went through all of the regionals. Who do you think has the worst regional?
I said Nebraska's is pretty tough. That's a brutal, Ole Miss and Arizona State are, those are two seeds in your regional.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I meant by, worst regional, I meant, worst, to watch.
Oh.
What's a regional that you're like, this regional sucks?
Mississippi State. Mississippi State's.
I was thinking Texas.
Or West
Virginia. But you also have a friend in Lamar. So, Lamar, Tarleton State, there's some interest, but, if they're on late, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah. Georgia Tech has a chance to be really bad because
they're just that good.
They're that good, but UIC and the Citadel are also that bad. So.
And the last one is, how many fifth graders can you confidently beat up?
I always said it's one because I'm going to hit the first one as hard as I can. And nobody else is going to mess with me after that. So, be like, this is what I did to your friend. You see him crying in the corner. Do you want the smoke? Do you want this smoke? Maybe a second kid comes up and I give him the business too. But I don't know. I see some videos every now and then of some 6'4" 10-year-old on the JV field, and I'm like, okay, that's not real. But
that's where it ends. That's the fifth grader that I can't beat.
Yeah, they bring out Hulk Hogan basically.
And you're just like, oh, okay, no, we lost this one. We're good.
Hour 10, pretty good time. There we go. He has been. Any final thoughts, Hunter?
No, I'm excited for this to start. I wish it actually started sooner. I hate that it starts on Friday.
Let me ask you one of the 9. What's your favorite regional to watch, or that you're like, I'm watching? If it's on, this is going main screen, or has the sound on in a quad box, what's the one you're wanting to know the most about?
Let me pull them up. No. See, I would say Florida, just simply for Florida and Miami. I like those two teams. They're very talented. However, Ryder and Troy does not make me want to watch. North Carolina with VCU, ECU, and Tennessee. That's the one that I circled immediately, and I wrote down. I was like, "Ooh, I like that." Even as a 3 seed with ECU, I think they're so talented. They're so put together. It's got that feel. Even as a 3 seed, that there's intrigue there. I think they can beat Tennessee. I think a VCU could upset a Eastern Carolina or Tennessee. That's one of those things where it's I do believe North Carolina goes out, but it's going to be messy. So, kind of one of the worst draws now that I'm really thinking about it is North Carolina is one of the top seeds and they have that as a regional. That sucks. What was that second question?
Least favorite to watch.
Least favorite to watch, probably Texas, just because it's undeserved that you got this easy path. That or Oregon. Pac-12's cool, but I didn't watch the Big 12 or the Pac-12 after dark anyway, so not gonna tune in. Especially when I think Oregon is being rewarded for something that they have no reason for being rewarded for. So I think that side, those top two, I would probably say Texas, just because Texas is playing the worst. They're playing all year. Holy Cross did not look good. They did win the championship, however, they did go the full series. Tarleton State and UC Santa Barbara. I think UC Santa Barbara just has Floral. Without Floral, I don't think they can put up a fight against Texas. And with Tarleton State being as feisty as they are, I'd be surprised to see if they hold Flora for Texas like we all want, or if they just burn them to make for sure they get a win in advance. The name of the game is survive in advance. So interesting to see if they go 2 off the rip, or if they burn their ace and then throw the 2 against Texas. I think it would make sense to go 2 against Tarleton and then your 1 against Texas, assuming Texas beats Holy Cross. They quite literally are playing that bad that Holy Cross could beat them. I would probably Texas. Texas is going to be the one that I'm like, I'm good.
Well, with that, he's been hammered. I've been Homer. Like, comment, share, subscribe on all platforms. We'll catch you on the next one. We've been hammered.